Hello, friends, especially to those of you in my Zone 4 Elder Group. This is Pat Martins again from Faith Lutheran Church in Jefferson City, Missouri, and I'm welcoming you back to the Man on a Mission series. Been a few weeks since I've put a video out. I'm going to start a new summer series here that I hope you'll find intriguing and inspirational in your journey with God. I don't know how many weeks this one will run yet, but I'd invite you to subscribe to this YouTube series by hitting the subscribe button in the bottom right corner and also click on the bell to get the notifications when the next videos do come out. I'll send you email updates as well. This series is inspired by a book called The Last Arrow by Erwin Raphael McManus. And the premise of the book throws this out at the reader. Imagine doing everything you were meant to do, then with a full heart taking your final breath. That is a life fully lived. How do you feel about your life? Do you feel it has been one that you have fully lived for God? And if not, what do you need to do to live that full life? There's an interesting section in the Bible, and I'd venture to say it's one you may not recall or it's not real familiar to you because it's rather obscure, I think, in the Old Testament. It's from 2 Kings 13, and it occurs just prior to Elisha's death. Starting in verse 15, Elisha said to King Joash, "Get a bow and some arrows," and he did so. "Take the bow in your hands," he said to the king of Israel. When he had taken it, Elisha put his hands on the king's hands. "Open the window," he said, and he opened it. "Shoot," Elisha said, and he shot. "The Lord's arrow of victory, the arrow of victory over Aram," Elisha declared. "You will completely destroy the Arameans at Aphek." Then he said, "Take the arrows," and the king took them. Elisha told him, "Strike the ground." He struck it 3 times and stopped. The man of God was angry with him and said, "You should have struck the ground 5 or 6 times. Then you would have defeated Aram and completely destroyed it. But now you will defeat it only 3 times. Elisha died and was buried. Now, the inference here is by only striking the ground with some of the arrows a few times, the king did not show proper zeal or enthusiasm. He had a full quiver, but did not commit all of them to the cause. And as a result, the king would only achieve a moderate amount of success against the enemy. Now, how do you get a whole book written about this short and obscure passage of Scripture? That is just what McManus has done here, and he gives some great correlation between the actions of the king and our actions today. And that is what I'll be focusing on in the coming weeks. How is your zeal for doing the will of God? Do you sometimes feel like God is not listening to your prayers or the calls out that you make to Him? It's interesting that I asked this question because personally I was just thinking about what a rut I am in myself here right now. You know how you kind of go through peaks and valleys in life, or spiritual life can get that way too. You get busy with life and find yourself squeezing God out. I feel like I'm in a spiritual valley myself right now. I've just lost some zeal for some reason. Don't know what it is, but I just feel it dragging me down. Maybe it's just the trajectory of our country it seems to be on with all this negativity in it and the politics and all that kind of thing. I don't know, but I can just feel it there. Then that's when I remembered this book, and the content brought me back into focus a little bit more, and it's become my next inspiration here for this video series for you, to challenge you and me. So when you feel this way, where you have lost that enthusiasm for God, for prayer, for doing His will, consider maybe it's because you're not striking your arrows to the ground enough, or you give up striking them just before God's ready to act. Maybe you have a full quiver of arrows that are going unused. Shoot those arrows. Don't hold them back in the quiver. And in doing so, you are a man or a woman on a mission.